2020. What's that mean? This is a new decade in the 2000s, and no one knows the future. No one knows what that means. It's the best we can do is forecast and like what's gonna happen. 2020. I'm gonna try to talk religion, politics, spirituality, and money. They're all like interconnected, like we all are. 2020. I think we question what all those things are. What is our society? What's this civilization about? Even though we're not civilized, but us. And what are the causes? What's the root of that? Like what's wrong? It's real. Money is definitely a big part of it. I mean, we all say it makes the world go around, and we understand its importance and value, but we don't value it. Actually, that it's something that has such importance and value is not valued, as in, like, for example, your money is issued to you by your government, and you don't trust yourself or other people to you don't trust people, so you entrust something to an institution to handle it for you. So our money that's currently being the Federal Reserve, just printing it by the billions right now as I speak. It's not your money. It's in a bank. It belongs to them. It's what was Jesus talking about with this? It's give back to Caesar what is Caesar's. Give back to the Federal Reserve what is the Federal Reserve's. This brings me to Bitcoin. I want to talk about Bitcoin, kind of focus that, even though religion, geopolitics, everything's intertwined with this. But why your savings, money is life force energy. It's a medium of exchange. It's how we exchange with each other. I mean, humans do few things. We communicate, we travel, and we exchange. So this medium of exchange, money, ruled by Venus and Taurus, but it's a tool. It's not good or evil. It's merely an energy of exchange, of life force energy. So, if it's power, if it's centralized into an institution of a few, like if you don't trust yourself to be your own bank, or others to, if you're not trusting other people to be honorable with their word, how can we all put our trust in just a few people to handle and issue and dictate this such a powerful thing? Not even, we don't even vote. It's completely like down to a few, like the chair, the head of the Federal Reserve it's almost down to one person really dictating this monetary policy. In 2020, money, we question what it is and what's wrong with it and how can it be better, and with the planetary energies of this year, all those things are made possible. I mean, that's Pluto, the transformer, a destroyer in Capricorn, an institution sign. So Saturn and Pluto conjunct this year in Capricorn is the planetary energy involved with making all this change, that long past due change. So, like when I say the petrodollar is going to go up in flames and the stock market's going to crash, do you fear that? Are you scared? And if so, ask yourself why, or why not try to actually think of that as a positive, happy thing, as in wow, okay, these burdens of humanity and something so powerful and important is losing its control over us, and we are gaining control over it, or the balance of power is shifting. So, like, I mean, do you want to be in debt? Do you want the world to owe how many trillions to who? Like, think about and what debt is. Debt's become what we think is money. So, but debt is the money of slaves, and the world and in individuals, and most anybody hearing my voice right now is a debt slave. You owe life force energy. You owe your children's life force energy, or your children's children owe their non-existent life force energy already to this institution, a group of men, ones that we don't vote, or we don't even have a say, or no one. The IMF, the World Bank, a Rothschild dynasty, the people that have been in control of this stuff for too long. The world kind of wakes up to this, questions it, and takes action. So 2020 is very positive in this aspect. Now, what's the answer? What's the solution? What's better? One word: Bitcoin. It's the people's money. It's the money. It's the new world reserve currency of the world, for everyone, controlled by everyone. So there's the key words: centralized and decentralized. The money that's in your pocket right now is centralized. The power of it is centralized in the hands of a few. Like, that purchasing power is regulated by a centralized power structure, whereas Bitcoin is decentralized, as in there is no one power structure controlling it. It's an open source blockchain ledger. Blockchain is basically peer-to-peer technology. Think of like Napster and trading things on the internet. That's peer-to-peer. But unlike Napster.com that's a centralized peer-to-peer. That's not an open source decentralized ledger. So this is Napster, or some LimeWire or whatever peer-to-peer source without a domain, without a .com. It's open source, as in the peoples of the world. There's no one nation dictating it. It's not tied to a pile of gold in some government's possession. It's open source blockchain peer-to-peer ledger that is decentralized, can't be stopped, can't be shut down. No government has control. No one man, no group of no chairman. Nobody has say or dictation over this, other than a collective consciousness of everyone has the say of what its values, what it's worth, and what gives Bitcoin this new global currency value is that it makes a great store of value, as in like gold. You can buy some gold and you store it, and it's going to maintain that value. That it's a superior money that has a finite, limited amount, that we know exactly how much there is. We don't know how much gold there is on the planet. There's roughly like 9 billion ounces, or there's like an ounce of gold for every human on the planet, roughly. But most of that's in possession of gold in government vaults, and is inaccessible, is not equally distributed, and its value kind of just stays roughly around gold kind of just has a continuous value. It's worth X amount because we think so, we say so. But Bitcoin is a very supply and demand. There's only 25 million coins that will ever be in existence. So, and how many people on the planet? So right now, like as I'm talking, Bitcoin's like $7,000 a coin, and it's been up to $25,000, and I'm hoping in the next in January or the beginning of this month of 2020, I think it's going to go down to $5,000 a coin, which that's a good nice new low to accumulate by some, because this is the last time it's going to be that price. And Bitcoin's going to go to $1 million a coin or $1 billion a coin in 5 years to 15 years. But and that's just assuming the dollar keeps the value it has. But how's the dollar going to keep the value it has when over the last 6 months and all of through 2020, the Federal Reserve is going to be printing billions by the week, up to $1 trillion. The Federal Reserve is going to print into existence out of thin air through quantitative easing and repo market manipulation, a devaluation of the currency. I mean, just in our short life, just in the last 20 years, you just look at your $20 bill and what it used to buy in groceries versus what it buys now. You already can see that, and that was without excessive printing. That was without QE 1, 2, 3, and now we're in QE 4, and they're not calling it QE 4, but printing money's printing money. Call it repo market or call it whatever the fuck you want. It's printing money, period. Basically, a global economy requires a global currency. I've been saying this for a long time, and it's a fair, level playing field for everyone to have the same fair chances at banking and exchanging life force energy with each other. So, like, money in the world, it affects politics, religion, innovation. I mean, what does money not encompass? It's clear and obvious the power that money has over humanity or with humanity, but And currencies come and go. You look back at every civilization, and they only last and live so many years. Like just any form of money. Look at it; it has a lifespan. It's born and it dies. It comes and it goes. One government gives it backs it, or gold backs it, or it was seashells originally before banking dynasties really monopolized it. But there's it all comes and goes, and what's going to carry humanity on through the age of Aquarius, through the next few thousand years? What could do it? I mean, gold's always around. It's always going to have some value for, obviously, jewelry, and obviously there's somewhat, it's a finite amount, even though we don't know exactly how much, and we can always accumulate more out of the ground. Gold is timeless and has its value. It makes a great store of value. There was a story out of Germany when Germany's currency collapsed, and he saw it coming. He saw their stock market bubbling and ready to pop, and he took all his money out of the bank and bought up a pile of gold and hid it. It wasn't confiscated from whatever government at the time, and he came out on the other end like the richest man in Germany. It made a great store of value for that time, because paper is paper. Venezuela's money is sitting in the streets right now. The Zimbabwe ruble or something it takes a few stacks for some eggs. These are all the same systemic problems of the people giving their power away to a government or entity to dictate, to control this currency, which maybe has served a purpose for a long time before now. But with this invention of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, it's a new age dawning. And Bitcoin won't be the premier only currency. It's a currency and store of value, whereas the whole cryptocurrency market will take the load off of the googolplex of transactions that will be taking place over the next 1,000 years. There's we won't necessarily use Bitcoin for the gumball machine, but there's so now one prediction, one thing I do see is in the beginning of this, or in 2020, is the banks to attempt to stay relevant or survive or live on into this age is going to make bank cryptocurrencies are coins that are somewhat tied to the dollar. So, but when the dollar hyperinflates and becomes worth nothing, how are you going to tie a currency to it? So they can be gold back. They're in possession of gold, so they can back their currencies with gold, that'll work too. That's a gold-backed cryptocurrency is a fair, good currency, a medium of exchange. But then, gold's price is only staying at. It only stays at what it. I think the cryptocurrencies of the world are going to be backed by Bitcoin. Bitcoin being truly finite and knowing exactly how much there is of it. Each nation's coin is going to be backed by Bitcoin, because Bitcoin's value only goes up. And it only goes up because the supply and demand, for one. Two, just the open source ledger, meaning that we all own Bitcoin, not a government, not this nation X or Y. It's the people's currency. So it's everything's going to be backed by Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin's going to reign supreme over gold. And the day will come where Bitcoin is there might be a dark future for Bitcoin long into the future, where it's controlled by all the world government, and every transaction is monitored and taxed, and there are things to watch out for, a dark side of the Aquarian age that all forms of prophecy have predicted some possible dark days very far off into the future, which that should be expected, like as in after things have been good for so long, how would they not go bad in one way or another? So just like the dollar's probably petroleum and the dollar have been good and served us well. We've built as we know, civilization, like it's they've served us well up to this point, but we can see now where they're failing and faltering. So the petrodollar, though, is the source of like war as we know it. I mean, we're really not fighting over even terrorism. We're fighting over resources. We're fighting over gold. The nations have been accumulating gold over the last decade in preparation for this fall of the petrodollar and the banking system. So that because just like that German story of collecting up the gold before each nation wants to do this, to come out on the other end with, oh, America has so much gold, China has so much gold, Russia has so much gold. Who's going to have the highest value currency at the end of the day, based on their national currency, cryptocurrency. But Bitcoin is here to save us from this old world order. Bitcoin is it's not a new world order currency, it's a one world order currency, as in something that unites humanity, that gives us all a level playing field it banks the unbanked. The people, I mean, think of how many people in other third world or nations that just don't have access to a bank, or can't even join in the world economy due to their political structures, or their so 2020 to 2021, definitely a stock market collapse, an implosion of the petrodollar, and the birth of an electric currency. And anytime you hear like somebody, the banking system projecting like, oh, it's for criminals are using it to trade babies, or whatever the fuck you hear about the cryptocurrency being bad. How the criminals use it uses too much electricity. It's money laundering for criminals buying drugs. Anytime you hear those negative things, listen, sit back and notice the person projecting that is projecting their shadow, what they're talking about. What you say is what you are. The pot calling the kettle black. Like, they're trading babies with their currency. They're drone bombing, paying soldiers to go kill brown people across some foreign lands. They're fighting over oil and gold or drugs. Invading Afghanistan for heroin, poppy. Their fucking money. Their banks, all the light bulbs in all their buildings and their institutions are draining so much black oil electricity. Their money costs us too much. Their money is used for too much criminal trade and laundering. So Bitcoin gives back the power to the people. And simply put it, it's the people's money. It's here to bring balance and order to the chaos. Yeah, I mean, it's just I just want you to really just question what these things are. Do your research. Believe in yourself. Trust yourself. You can be your own bank now. There's no middleman to ask. Saying you can or cannot buy, or there's no credit scores. There's no debt. There's no, how good of us. What's the number of your slave? He can produce in the system. He gets this purchasing power. No, it's put into the system and get out of it with equivalent exchange. There's no debt. You don't owe anybody anything. You put work in, you get work out, or you put energy in, you get energy out with equivalent exchange. Bitcoin abides by universal law. It's void of usury. The petrodollar is based off of usury, which is not equivalent exchange. Look these things up. That's the big difference. So I don't know, this 2020, if you're watching this video, sorry I'm not a great speaker, thanks for bearing with me if you made it this far. I don't know. But just ask these questions. Talk to yourself, listen to your heart, follow, apply logic and reason. Don't break free from any programming of if you're in debt, stop paying your fucking debt, your imaginary debt. You don't owe anybody shit. Yeah, okay. Oh, maybe you bought a TV on credit and you feel morally obligated to pay for whatever fucking junk you bought. Blah blah blah. No, the fucking government is printing billions by the day right now. How about that money goes to that debt? How about your college education? to better yourself and pay for that knowledge, how about the money being printed pays for that now? Your debt is imaginary. Let it go. If you got money coming in, put it into Bitcoin. Buy Bitcoin now. Do not pay any fucking debts. You can't owe this inflated, hyperinflated interest rates and blown out costs. Taxation is usually taxation is theft because it's basically you're taxed at gunpoint. But if you don't pay your taxes, you're threatened with getting raped in jail. That's the threat. But it's fair if you're in a good city and stuff. It's fair. Everyone should maybe 14% is a reasonable and logical contribution for anyone to pay, but you're being forced to pay 40% of your life force energy into a system that you don't have any say of where that money gets even spent. It's not even being put into your city or being paid for. Half of it's going just to pay the interest on the banker debt. So, yeah, tell that debt to fuck off. You're not in debt anymore. Buy Bitcoin. It's better than gold. You're gonna come out on the other side of this, out of 2021, alive or thriving. Buy Bitcoin. Stop paying your debts. You're not in debt. It's fucking the value of money is imaginary anyways right now. It's monopoly money right now. That Federal Reserve note, IOU note for the gold that's not even in there or that is imaginary. So buy Bitcoin, the global currency of an age of logic and reason. Drop your debt slave chains and break free your mind. Question the system that's got you caught. Let's see. The green technologies on their way are suppressed and held back by not just patents, but there's no money in it. There's no money in building and creating the things that supplant the petrodollar. So Bitcoin has a way of, will put an end to wars. It will fund the green technologies, the sustainabilities that save the world, because profit doesn't have to be made in the sense of that usury won't exist. So this is hard for me to explain, but I've never really talked about it. But there's a disaster that takes place. AI automation can direct the funds, a profit pool of Bitcoin to that versus a bureaucracy and a party, a left or right party, deciding what's important to, how are we gonna resolve this problem? As problems arise, a technocratic system will be deployed to solve problems and create the innovations coming. Who explains this better than me? Antonopoulos. But just think about what money is, how you use it, your life force energy, how you value it, how you'd rather see it spent and used. take responsibility for yourself and your money. To be continued. I'll be back.